Okay. Teresa, maybe you know. I guess you can wait.
Okay, it's 3:00. Thank y'all for coming. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Start with the roll call. Of course, I'm present. Mayor Pro Tem Trillo is absent. Councilmember McClellan is absent with the medical excuse. Councilmember Moses present. Councilmember Smith present. Councilmember Swinson present. Okay, I've asked Councilmember Smith to say the invocation.
Lord, guide us today. Help us work united better and serve the city of. We ask for your guidance each and every day. In Christ's name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No announcements there. We expect the meeting runs long, but they'll be ripping up 281 this afternoon, prepping it. It's supposed to be done by Friday. So
You're saying you're expecting this meeting for long?
no, it's about long. I hope it does. Go home and take a nap and come back and see it starting. See, you better run long. We got that cooking, and well, we got Founders Day. It's coming up on Saturday. Have some good music lined up and things. So hope you all can make it. There is one public comment. Rheta Martin.
Hello, I'm here, too, and I know y'all can't answer my questions on this, but I'm here about the comprehensive master plan. Because I've got a vested interest in this from all the years since 2003 that we first brought this. The people brought it to the city council, saying we need to get a 10-year plan or something. So the first 3 months, it was the people that got excited. I mean, there's a banner that was hanging. LCRA was called in. They knew how to get the people excited, but it was people oriented. And I've seen twice so far that it's in an executive session and not out here where I am and where it was back then. So I didn't know I was in an executive session and where it was. But anyway, we worked real hard on it and we did work on it. I want to make it clear because it was kind of indicated it's dropped when we got finished on February 8th of 2005. It's 13 months that we worked on it. This meeting after meeting after meeting. And there was 100 people after that 3 months in the lunchroom of the high school because of this 3 months that we had spent, that they had spent, LCRA, the city had spent getting the people involved in it. So I'm not seeing that now. So I just wanted to check. And it didn't die when it was over on February 8th. It kept going. I worked on it, on everything, and if we had a category that we didn't have the lead on, then somebody else worked on it. But most of them have been done, but a lot of them haven't, and a lot are still being worked on. So I'm excited about it, and I just hope to see that it goes again, but we need to get the people. It doesn't work back there. We don't hear that back there. Maybe you can get a banner and hang up on the highway or have a big, LCRA even served those 100 people subways at night. And we had paper hanging on the wall. These are the things that we wanted. And that's went into our task. And so these are things from that task. And so some of them probably will open back up again. Some of them maybe needed to be good groups thought, but it's got to be a citizen and it cannot be counselors that live out here 15 miles away that have a grant or something. It has to be citizens driven. It has to be local and what's maybe DJ and what's coming in. And but it's getting close. I guess I don't know when it's going to be started, but we need to get the excitement going again. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your sharp memory and your experience and service and your wisdom. Thank you. All right, that's the end of public comments. We are going to a presentation of the annual financial audit report, the single audit report.
Good afternoon. I'm Darla Dieter with Bell Harris Project, so I'm here to present your annual financial report. I'll briefly go over the most important pages. The single audit was the little booklet that you have. And first thing is, this is in draft form. There should not be any changes from the draft to the final form. Once we get a client representation letter, we will issue the finals, so that should be probably loaded tomorrow, I believe. It could be this afternoon. The single audit means that you spent over $750,000 in federal funds. So we had to look at those grant funds, and that's just a listing of the grant funds spent by the city. So we'll move to the next, the bigger book, and I'll go back the three most important pages out of this book. So if you'll flip with me to page 1, this is the page that we consider the most important out of the audit. It's this opinion page. You received an unmodified opinion. That is the highest level of assurance that you can receive, that there are no material misstatements and all disclosures have been made to generally accepted accounting principles. So great job on that. And if you will flip with me to page 25, we'll look at those revenues and expenditures. And we're going to focus in on that general fund column. Total revenues for the year. And I do have my handy dandy glasses here so I can read those numbers. Total revenues for the year, $2,270,124. Total expenditures for the year, $2,621,836. You have a little sources of other financing sources, leaving you an additional $92,025, leaving you a net change in fund balance that was a use of fund balance of $259,087. Ending fund balance for the year, $439,060. Now we're going to flip over and look at your budget page. I think that also would give you a little better picture of, I think, what you planned and then what actually happened for the year. So on that budget page, on page 63, we're going to look at that final budget column and we're going to compare it to what actually happened with the revenues and expenditures for the year. So on that total revenues line item, you'll see what the final budget was $1,009,000 that you expected to come in, but actually what you received was $2,002,000, leaving you a variance, a positive variance of $277,547. Down on the total expenditure line, you'll see on that final budget column that you expected to spend $2,006,000 on your expenditures. On the actual, it came in at $2,006,000 also, but it was a positive variance of $9,387. So just right under what you, or right over what you budgeted. The budget was exceeded the expenditure, so that's where you want it to be. So if you're coming down to a line that would have net change in fund balance and looking at that final column, you'll see what you plan to spend on that budget to use out of fund balance was $546,021. What you actually spent was $259,087. So that was the use of fund balance compared to what you had planned to use. So that gave you a positive variance to that budget of $286,934. So that's basically about the three most important pages out of there. We did have an implementation of GASB 96 that we implemented this year. But, that would be a small change on the city side. Now, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I don't have any, I'm sorry, I don't have any questions at this time, but I do appreciate you pointing out the unmodified recommendation or acknowledgement. Auditor's report, I think that reflects on our staff's work,
Yes, it does.
to get where we were, and they didn't just give you a sheet box.
Yes, that is correct. And I know when we do the audits, we request a lot of information and it's a lot of documents. And, as I can sure you can add to that, but so we request a lot of information to compile all these numbers, and we appreciate the help that we get from the staff. They're always doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And moving on to new business. If we talk about whether we're going to the annual audit. So what's the motion is just to accept this audit as is?
Yes, if you accept and adopt it.
Okay.
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the audit, or is it audits plural, both of them or one of them?
Both of them, sir.
Of the audits as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? All right, ayes have it.
All right, please let us know if you need anything else.
Thank you so much. Now, Warren, this one's about the grant administrator for us. Grant disaster recovery mitigation and resilient communities.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, residents. This is the base of the select administrator, the RFP that we had approved about a month and a half ago. So basically, we kind of go backwards. We're applying for this mitigation grant, zoning communities program through Texas General Land Office. This first portion is just the select administrator or the grant writer, and then the second portion, once we receive the grant, to actually approve either the land use person or the professional service engineer. This first part is just administration help. So the fiscal impact of the $300,000, you had asked the administrator to come up with a group approach to basically read through all the RFQs that came in, and we did. There were 4 RFQs. They were trailer, public management, grant works, and Langford community management. The group that met, we met last weekend, I guess it was Friday. We read through it. There was Ken Welch, Transportation Committee, Bobby McClung, the CMP Committee, and Brandy Carlton, myself. So we reviewed it. The one I want to mention is that all of these folks that applied, all 4 companies, they're really good grant writers. They're very good at their job. And I think one of the things we discussed is, I don't feel most comfortable, but what is the team that we think will help us the best, and who we've been working with, as you know, recently we've been working with, Langford, and put together a good team. Therefore, that's recommendations that committee recommends Langford community management. Any questions with me? I think Kim Welch here as well. Questions.
I have a question. When you do the RFP for the professional services portion, is that chosen by council or by the grant administrator?
That's chosen by council, so we'll do the same thing again. We'll put together a committee of people that review it and then bring it back to council, and council will vote on that again. That's a separate, once the grant, you'll accept the grant, and then you'll actually look at who and our professional service. Separate process. Hope to get that done sometime late summer, but we'll see how quickly the grant.
Your recommendation is to go with Langford,
It is Langford.
and we work with them, and then representative here.
They have a representative here, not part of the team that will be doing this project, but We have used them for a $300,000 grant for the lift station and we've been busy other projects.
I appreciate the work that's on.
I think I've had the opportunity to work with Langford, and I think having a prior history that was positive gives them a step above the other applicants. I'm not discounting any of the other qualifications, but I'll make a motion that we proceed with Langford on this for the GLO, the CBDB, MIT, and the RCP.
Is there a second?
I'll second. And I also just wanted to make a quick comment, since we're talking about conference master plan process. I believe that when we go out for the professional services portion of it, after we hopefully get the grant, that we should combine the comprehensive master plan update and the UDC update at once with the same team, so that it's quicker and there's more continuity to products.
That's not it, not a modification at the moment.
So there is a motion and a second. Call the vote, all in favor? Right, and this again, I like those. Item number 3, and this has your name on it. Dr. Smith, the police department incentive program.
Sure. Do I do that for me? So, as you know, as you all know, we have police chief that's retiring on April 12th. Councilman Smith and I have discussed, but normally happens when someone retires is there might be people that leave also or whatever, but this is really a time to really look at how the program is working, how the department's working, and the things that we can do to keep the current people. And by the way, I will say this, we have a really good police department. I want to make sure we retain these folks. So what is the retention program? So there are really, I'm looking at 3 things. And the first one I know a lot about, the other 2 I don't. So whoever the new chief will be will also look at that. There's a financial incentive. I'd like to look at a new program to be developed by the chief or recognize achievement. The mayor's talked about doing something with an employee of the month, maybe something like that. But there's some kind of program that the new chief put together. And then I do know that the police department has a wellness program. I'd like to review that with who the chief will be and basically improve that wellness program. So that's really the 3 parts of the retention program. So in order for you to understand how to improve or to retain staff, we have to look at what is being budgeted currently. There's 8 patrol officers, police chief, lieutenant, an admin, and a detective. There are 3 SRO positions that are paid by the school district. So while they are under the supervision of the police department, they're actually not paid by through that budget through the city. Next. So the salaries. Focus on the retention, and what we like to focus really on the patrol officers. That's where I think we could see some slippage. So, and you'll see this in a minute, but the average of the Blanco PD officers, just the officers, not all the other positions, is $56,324. 57 cents. The average of the area officers is $58,902.40. And we'll go over how we compare that in a minute, but let's go ahead and look at it. So the plan for retention, this is a concept only. So if you prove this, you're basically approving the concept. We can of course tweak it or do some different things. We're looking at a $3,000 increase for every position, excluding the police chief, which that's a negotiated amount anyway. But that $3,000 will get us a little bit above the average. Next. How do we pay for it? So one of the things that Chief Rubin and I had discussed was in October, when we had the new budget, we were going to, he had agreed, no, not the council had, we had agreed to reduce the budget, the officer from 12 to 11. So the reducing the budget from 12 to 11, both this year and the 25 budget, Blanco's never filled the 12th position, and that's we've had talk about this later, but we've had this issue trying to fill that last position. We take some of the money, if you can eliminate it, you can take the increase. So you're probably take about $30,000 from what we say, which I think is about $70,000 for an officer.
With all the benefits.
With all the benefits, okay. So we take a little less than half. So how do we pay for it next? We're talking about the 25 budget. How about this 24 budget? So right now, there are 2 SRO positions that are not filled, although that doesn't help the city. There's 1 patrol position right now that hasn't been filled. A police admin is retiring starting May 2nd, and the police chief retirement starting April 13th. There's 1 other possible patrol position that may not be being paid out as well. So you have basically could be up to 4 positions in this budget year that will be open. That's how you can say it. Next. Okay, so let's go to the spreadsheet. This is really the explanation to you as a council of where the pay is. And we compared that first one on the left, and that's just white, that is our salaries. The next one is Bulverde. Jerry did call, Lieutenant did call Bulverde, got with the chief, and he said it was about 59,000. So that's not exact, but we think it's close. Marble Falls, you'll see that. So for the officer position, Bulverde 59, Marble Falls 62.7, Blanco County 61,364. Vernon's 59, and Passus is 50, it looks like 51. And I would say probably our biggest competition is Blanco County, Lieutenant. Okay, so if we can get close to Blanco County, I think that would help. I don't think officers leave for $1,000, but they might leave for. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So if you look at the average, if you get that $3,000, it would push that average. That $3,000 that the officers would make would push the average a little bit of this average that we're talking about. So I guess that kind of concludes it. What I really want to bring back to the residents and to council and to officers themselves is that they're really important to the health of the city, keeping a happy workforce and providing them with the things they need, plus the right salary. I think it's very important. So, questions?
I'll make a comment that I'm saddened that our chief is retired. I'm concerned as to the welfare of our citizens, and I think it is of the most importance that we retain the staff that we have at this time. I understand that if you're in a changeover or a turnover like this, that there is a possibility that they leave. I requested that we set up, I charged Warren with setting up an incentive program, and I have reviewed what he submitted. I think the payroll adjustments were going to be needed anyway. It would have been adjusted in our next budget period at the recommendation of the police chief at that time. But at this point, I'll make a motion that we approve the incentive pay portion of the package. We did the same thing, not the same thing, but we worked with our administrative staff and adjusted the hours, the weekly hours, to make their position more attractive. In today's market, there's not an oversupply. This is a shopper's market, and we want to make our city attractive, and we want to retain what we got. If we don't, if we lose another 3 officers, we're down to 33%.
This is the first step.
So that's my motion.
The discussion.
I hate to take the funding away from the 12th officer because I feel like we do need that at some point, but I think that in light of the situation, we need to first prioritize keeping the officer.
And when would this take effect?
Probably take effect next month, because we need to finalize this and probably get this in front of. So tonight you're just approving the concept. In April, you'll be actually approving the actual So we probably this April. Okay, not yet.
So there's a motion, a second. All in favor? Thank you very much. Warren, you're up next also. This is the lift station.
So we're gonna let JD, Mayor with Langford kind of give you the update where we're at and, some of the delays and some of the, where we're actually at.
City Council Mayor, thank you for having me today. I appreciate the kind words were said about Langford and what we do. We very much appreciate that. I'd like to talk to y'all today to give you kind of an update. I believe it's a very positive update on our Blanco lift station project. We are finally coming to a positive close for our 2020 grant that's been around for 4 years now that we're working on. We have installed some equipment to be able to walk with the engineer and close that portion of the grant with y'all's approval of this plan to close the old grant. Now we will keep the newer grant, which the only thing the newer grant had was the 125 kilowatt generators on it. And so that funding is still being worked, and that will not close until 2025. So what this basically does, the plan that we have come up with together with Warren, the engineer, and several, interested parties, is to say that we, can close the old one, give ourselves some time on the new one, still hold all the same requirements that we were holding for the construction, the COCC, getting everything closed out, but then we no longer have the hang up of the deadline for the older grant. And this has all been discussed with TDA. I had hoped to have a resolution in front of you, because basically what the resolution will say, and you will see it in the future, and the only reason I don't have it is because we are still in negotiations with TDA on the final payment as far as the issuing of the final payment for the generator, how we're basically going to invoice them. The funding has been agreed to. It's just that inside. You got to agree to how we're going to dot the I's and cross the T's to make sure everybody's happy. The basic plan will be to phase this project into a phase 1, which will be closed, and that will include closing the old grant. Phase 2 will be the new grant. The way we're going to do this is just to amend the construction contract. Warren will be authorized, if y'all approve this plan, to sign for the amendment of that, and then a resolution that y'all will see on the next city council member. Again, I don't have it because TDA hasn't finalized it yet, but that is the concept of what we're doing moving forward. We have gotten considerably amount done in the last 3 weeks. I would be going out there today to do a little bit of a walkthrough, but we're already discussing with the engineer potential next week for the final walkthrough. Are there any questions?
Yes, sir.
I know.
I know. I guess basically you're gonna, right now, the generator and the lift station are under one contract, I'm not talking about financing, but it's under one contract with the city, correct?
No,
They're two separate contracts.
there's 2 separate TA contracts. Yes, that is correct.
Okay,
So they are 2 separate contracts. The one contract is you have one contract with the construction company, which we are going to amend, make it a phase 1 and phase 2.
okay, I don't think I made myself clear. Our contract with the construction company is a single contract that includes the lift station and the generator.
That is correct.
Okay, so when we close out a portion of what we're gonna make phase 1.
Yes, sir.
Then you're gonna release all the retainage on only phase 1 and still hold retainage on phase 2.
Correct. Which you're talking about a grand total of what we're dealing with now.
Right.
Under $5,000 to $10,000 of retainage for the old project.
Right.
New project, considerably a lot more fun.
Right. And you're gonna require a consent of surety for final payment for the lift station portion since it's under one bond.
Correct.
Okay.
That way y'all will be able to maintain still your warranties for the old lift station project, the 1-year standard warranties, and in the new project, Once it closes, you'll then have another warranty on your generators, just in itself.
Then would I be correct assuming their builder's risk on the lift station will terminate? Their builder's risk on the generator will stay in place?
That one, I haven't, I'd have to get back with you on that to discuss that
I
exactly.
want to make sure everything, I know that one insurance policy, it's probably all under the same policy. And it,
One thing I didn't cover, and then I apologize, is that there is still some parts that I'm gonna need to work with the city and ensure the city's attorney is comfortable. Y'all are all comfortable and everybody sees, hey, this is the amendment. Obviously, this is what this is gonna write out. This is gonna look like. We are covered with all our assurances and all things that we're concerned about. Those are something that in that amendment, once TDA approves it, we will 100%, go through the city and make sure that they have all the approvals and they will sign off on the amendment as well. The board will have to approve it in a sense of making sure all those assurances are in place when we amend that construction. Yes, sir. And I didn't cover that before, and I apologize. Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Warren, is there any action item on that?
You're just approving the concept tonight, I'll come back to you.
It's just basically, I wanted to take the time because y'all have put so much effort into this, as everyone has, in this project. I wanted to come down today and give you a face-to-face, hey, this is the update. This is what's coming. I had hoped to have a resolution, but this is why we do not. We are working with the director of TDA to ensure that this goes smoothly. Everybody's on board. So all of our plan that we have come through, and you can either Warren can attest to this and other people that have been in there. Last month, we were definitely not in the place that we are today. So very positive things with all construction, administration, and the TDA.
It was more of an update, you don't necessarily have to prove anything, but you know when he comes back in a month or two that you're doing different.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for your time. Were you doing a motion?
No,
We're fine.
investigation on on that. Old business number one, and we are going to take this into executive session that has nothing to do with the plan itself. This is a project that's going to be using potentially grant money and other sources of funding, making sure the I's are dotted and T's are crossed on the formation and structure of it, so that when we do get out to the public, they can have full confidence in it, and it requires interaction with our legal counsel, which requires executive session. So we are going to take that to executive session. And then the next is the warrant, the approval of extension city services, extension.
Okay, yeah, that's gonna be something we're discussing in April. That can be taken now.
Okay, I believe that. And so that concludes the current open session of our meeting. We're gonna move back into executive session. It is 3:33 p.m. Thank you very much.